The next part was deciding what medium I was going to put them on. When thinking about this, I researched because I'm a 2D drawer. I always draw on paper, and I kind of wanted something that was different and something that added to my work more on an aesthetic kind of viewpoint rather than a meaning. And so I started to, look for artists that work with ink drawing and things like that. And I found a New Zealand artist called Joseph McMenan. And I really, really was inspired by his ink on wood. He does these drawings of birds on plywood, and it literally, I knew from then that that's something that I wanted to create. And because I had already done these ink drawings, and I knew that I was going to use these, I started experimenting on wood. And so I found a piece of, I think it was about 16 mil. It was quite large, just a piece of old scrap ply and some MDF. And I started to experiment with those. So I cut it out. I chose the wolf because it was kind of the most simplest one that I was working with. I cut it out. Actually, I got Bernard to cut this one out for me. And then I started drawing on it, and I realized that there's two sides to a plywood. There's the nice side, and then there's the like furry side. And unfortunately, I had drawn it, so I had to draw on the furry side because the other side was damaged. I hadn't really looked close enough. So that showed me how much it would bleed. As you see in this photo, you can see up at the very, very nose, there's a little bit of bleeding, which is not what I wanted. I didn't want it to bleed. And so as I was experimenting with the ply, I found that it would bleed, and it was something that I had to really look into. I had to look into getting the right ply, the right thickness, and the right, according to price, because you can get sheets of really, really nice ply that's worth, $200, and I didn't have that money. I ended up getting a sheet of plywood from Placemakers for $50, 12 mil, which I was really happy with, but we'll get into that soon. I used pencil to draw on the lines, and then I drew around the edges and used my pen and drew them in. And I just loved the look, I really liked, even though it was on the, furry side, I still really liked it. I put the drawing on acetate first, just to move it really, get it moving really quickly and simply, so I could do all these experimentations really quickly. And then I started working. So that's the finished project of my first one that I was working with. And that's it on the wall. And then I started working with MDF, and I just really liked the look on MDF. I just again picked up a piece of scrap MDF from the workshop, and I really liked the way it looked. I think it was just because it still gave that, not paper, but it's something else, something that is aesthetically pleasing to the eye, even though it is MDF, which is not a waste of space material, but it's something that, cheap, and it's just a material, nothing that has any substance, and that is used for nothing special. And I didn't want that to influence the read. And when I would talk to my tutors about using MDF or using ply, they always said to use ply. They said that the read of my work would be influenced and changed by using ply, which I didn't want. And then this is a drawing of the wolf again on a thick ply. I think it's about, I'd hate to not say 10 mil, maybe 8 to 6 mil. It's not super thick, not super thin though either. And I did like it, but I didn't. I'm happy that I stuck in the end with the ply, but it was interesting to see the difference, because straight on the MDF it doesn't bleed. It's like drawing on paper, and then on the ply, depending on what side you use and the type of fineness of the ply, the type of quality it is, it's all dependent on that, whether it bleeds or not. And with the MDF and the ply, you had to be really careful not to get anything wet or anything, because you see on the rump of that wolf, it got wet a little bit and it just bleeds, changed the colour completely, which is not what I wanted either. And so here's just the thicknesses of the plies that I was playing with. That's the one of the cutout drawing. So yes, that was my second experimental, and then I decided I was going to use the ply. And I went to Bernard to find out if I could put a sealant on the ply to see if it would not let it bleed and if it would just be able to draw straight on. And also it would darken the ply, which is an idea that I really wanted because I knew that if I darkened the piece of plywood that I got, the grain in the ply would be showed off more. You know, you'd be able to see the different colours and the depths, which is something that I really wanted. And I made sure that I arranged my animals on the ply, on the ply so I could get, you know, the best kind of colour range in it. And these were, you see halfway through that piece of ply, there is a different colour. And that is me drawing on it. And after it dried, it didn't, the pens that I was using, it didn't run. Not very good. And then on the other side, see, they're the wrong pens. I had a dilemma with the pens that I was using. And they, you know, frayed, they ran out of ink, and it was just the worst.